Hello again from My Front Porch. Well, I want to talk to you today about an actor who, honestly, I never thought I'd be talking about. It's not that I don't like the guy, I just haven't watched a whole lot that he's done. I think actually his best role that I've enjoyed is his role in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but only because, I'm a huge Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan. But anyway, Patton Oswalt has been in the news lately because of a really fantastic thing that he did for one of his followers on Twitter. Well, actually, a guy that got into an argument with him on Twitter. So here, for those of you who may not be aware of the story, I'll just summarize it for you this way. Patton Oswalt, who is a very staunch Trump opponent and very strong liberal activist, and makes no bones about it. So I don't think I'm talking out of turn by describing him that way. That he had posted some mockery of President Trump again, based on some odd things that Trump had said. And so this all happens on Twitter, which President Trump really, unfortunately, likes using a lot. But anyway, so Patton Oswalt responded to something with his own version of a poem that was, well, it was not flattering. Let's just say that it was very pointed, very insulting, and again, that happens. That's always been the case of what happens in political circles. But anyway. So Oswalt made this point. Well, one of the people following Oswalt, or maybe following Trump, and so he saw it that way, I don't know. But a gentleman named Michael Beatty then responded with a couple of really kind of nasty, very personal jabs at Patton Oswalt, referencing stuff that he'd done on film, but using the things that had happened to him on film as a way to springboard. One celebrating that he had died in a film, and another one celebrating that he wasn't athletic because he's short and stocky, and stuff. So really not even responding to the actual dialogue, which I hate. I can't stand people that do that they leapfrog over what the debate is about and they go right to the personal attack. That really bugs me. But that's what Mr. Beatty did. He made very pointed, direct attacks against Patton Oswalt. Well, Patton Oswalt is, at heart, a comic. He's a comedian to a large extent, and so he responds with some additional jokes, whatever. But then he clicks on Michael Beatty's profile and goes out to read up about it. Now, I don't know what his motivation was. It's very possible his motivation was to go look up and see just how big of a loser is this guy. What? I don't know. Maybe that. But whatever the motivation was that caused him to click on the profile link to see more about him, what Patton Oswalt then soon discovered was that Michael Beatty had some very serious health issues that he was currently battling, and he couldn't afford to deal with some of those things. Now, here's where I want to take just a little bit of an aside in the story. I've been very saddened by some of the reactions that I've seen, because I have seen people who actually gleefully celebrate the fact that Michael Beatty was suffering with a need for health care he couldn't afford, and he was a Trump supporter. All these comments about, well, karma and payback, and, that's what he gets for being a Trump dude. Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, I understand the mentality, but I just can't go there. I cannot. I don't care who the person is or what they have stood for. When they are faced with a crisis in their own life, I cannot find joy in that, celebrate that, and say, you deserve it. No, I really don't think any human being deserves to have pain and suffering of any kind. I mean, is it life? Does it happen? Is it reality? Yes. But do I wish that on anyone, even someone I don't like? Absolutely not. And would I celebrate that someone is suffering because I don't like them politically or whatever? Never. That to me, that is absolutely inhuman. If you engage in that, I'm sorry, but I think you're a bit of a bottom feeder, because that is a horrible mentality, a horrible way to see other people. Patton Oswalt did not do that, and that is why he's in the news, because he looked at this guy's profile, read this stuff, saw he's having health problems, and Oswalt then posts to his own Twitter He says to his fans, hey, this guy made fun of me here on Twitter. This guy challenged me, made attacks against me. But I've just read he's been handed some. Well, he used some profanity, which I won't repeat on my family show here. But that he'd been handed some difficult cards in life, and that that Oswalt said he understood because he would be very angry, very upset too. That's not, again, the words that he used. But that's the gist of it. So Oswalt, again, I don't know what Oswalt's intentions were in looking at the guy's profile, but whatever they were, when he saw this guy's situation, Oswalt checked the debate, checked the sarcasm, checked the political animosity, checked it at the door. And he said, here is another human being. Here's another person that is suffering, and I can do something about that. Not only did he say that, but he also took time to understand maybe this guy is so belligerent and so aggressive because he is so angry about the situation that he is in. And I can do something about that. Now, again, I've not watched a lot of Patton Oswalt. He was on King of Queens, and he's done other things too. And I don't think he's a bad actor or anything. He just he's not. I mean, he's never been on Supernatural, as far as I know. So he's still got room to grow. But still, the point is, whatever you think of him as an actor or anything like that, in my opinion, his elevation as a person has gone up. Now, I still may not agree with stuff that he posts on Twitter, but at the core, deep inside, where humanity really exists inside each of us, Patton Oswalt demonstrated what we all need to be aware of, and that's the point of this episode. I want to address this, what I'm kind of thinking of as the Oswalt effect, or at least I hope it becomes the Oswalt effect. And that is, it's so easy to get online, to get on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and whatever. It's so easy to get on those platforms and get into debates with people. Somebody posts a comment, someone posts a thing, and immediately I don't agree. And you don't know the person. You likely will never, ever meet the person. And yet, based on a few text lines, we pass judgment on them wholesale. We determine what kind of person they are in every aspect: their intelligence, their integrity, their morality, their compassion, everything about them. We pass judgment based on our assumption of a few lines of text that they've put on social media. Honestly, I'm not saying I'm a saint. I've been guilty of it too. I have fallen prey to that as well. But over the last few years here, I have tried to make a much more concerted effort to not let myself go down that rabbit hole. To engage people in high-spirited debate, yes, I'm happy to do that. But to not give quarter to those who just attack, who have no purpose but to belittle. And when I see somebody make a comment that I think, oh, wow, how dumb do you gotta be to say, don't make that comment. Now, I may think it, oh yeah, I still may think some of those things, but I don't know that person. I don't know what their background is. I don't know what their experience is. I get a chuckle personally when people, because my background is in journalism. I was a public school teacher. I've run for office, so I've seen behind the curtain, and that's why I'm cynical and jaded now. But I've had all these experiences, and when I was a teacher, I was a journalism, U.S. government, and U.S. history teacher. I've studied this stuff. And so then when there's things on Facebook, for example, where somebody will post something, I'll say, no, that's not quite the way it is. And then I have some Joe Schmo whatever who, is like a freshman in college or, whatever. So, someone who thinks that, and they try to educate me on this stuff. You're wrong, Paul. I don't know. You got to stop watching Fox News. For the record, I don't even watch Fox News. But anyway, this whole notion that they just assume that I'm stupid, that I'm ignorant, that I don't know what I'm talking about because they don't agree with me. When in reality, when I comment on something, I comment on it because I've actually looked it up. I've actually researched it. I've actually checked into it. And there have been a few times where I've been caught with my pants down, figuratively speaking. And I've posted something that turned out to not be accurate. And in those cases, I will apologize, or I will just simply delete the whole thing. Because it's like, oh, I was wrong. Boom, get rid of that. Because I'm willing to admit that, I'm not going to stick my heels in the ground and go, ah. And so my kudos to Oswalt. He could have done that. He could have pointed out, he could have said, hey, this guy's made fun of me, and I went out and looked at his page. He's got all his health care. Well, maybe if he wasn't a Trump supporter, maybe he'd have better health care now, and he'd be able to. He could have done that. He could have. And there are a lot of celebrities who would have. A lot of liberal activists who would have. Just like there are, and I don't want to keep back, there are people on the conservative end of the spectrum who are no better. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is Oswalt could have done all that. And you know what? Most people would have just written it off as, it's another one of those celebrities and hates Trump and hates everybody but right. And it would have passed away. But Oswalt did not do that. To his credit. And I think this is so incredibly powerful. I'm honestly not trying to make a bigger deal out of this than necessary, but personally, I think this is a big deal. Because our society has become so broken, so divisive, and people don't even listen to understand anymore. We listen to respond. We listen to argue. And that's that. You go on Facebook and you see that kind of stuff all the time. Even non-political discussions. There's still all this. Oswalt, however, he steps out and he sees this guy and the pain this guy's having, and Oswalt suspends the politics and reaches out to help the human being. That's huge. That is huge. And if we could all learn from that, our culture would be phenomenal. I mean, it's hard for me to even, knowing just how sick our culture is now with the division and with conflict, to think of our culture adopting that Oswalt effect and implementing that more often. To think about what that could do for our society. Again, I'm not holding up Oswalt as being perfect. I'm not saying that he's a saint. No, by no stretch. He still has the issues just like all of us do. But in this instance, he demonstrated what the absolute best response was. He showed the absolute best of what humanity has to offer. He also showed political debates mean nothing. Reaching out and helping people means everything. See, Oswalt is not in the news right now because he bested somebody in a political debate. He's in the news right now because he said, forget the political debate. This guy needs help. Let's help him. That's why he's in the news. I don't expect all of the rest of us to make the news for doing things like that, but we still should do things like that because you know what? You have the debates, you have the arguments, the name calling. You get a reputation. People will remember that, and not flatteringly. But if you do the Oswalt effect, people will remember that for a long time. And you will be remembered in very, very positive terms. So, challenge to myself, ongoing challenge to not let myself get sucked into the negativity that happens on social media. There still will be times, yes, but to not let it happen is to increasingly make that a focus. And I challenge all of you to do the same. And I want to thank, even though I don't know Patton Oswalt, he doesn't know me, and he'll probably never see this, but I want to thank him for because of his high-profile position as a celebrity. I want to thank him for setting this example in a very tangible, very real, very impactful, and very timely way. Thank you, Mr. Oswalt, for showing us what any of us really can do when we choose to be more human. And with that, I'll see you next time from my front porch.